Hello world of cyberspace. I'm Jeremy Johns, and I just saw another post-apocalyptic movie. Yeah, we love that end of the world. But you came to see the review, so let's review it. The Book of Eli. Now there's a lot to say about this movie. I found it really intriguing. And I for one was looking forward to this movie. Why? Because it had a good checklist of what would make a good movie awesome. Denzel? Check. Old school psycho Gary Oldman like from The Professional? Oh yeah, before he was Jim Gordon, Gary Oldman played bad guys. A lot. And he did it well. And yes, he still got it. So check. Hot chick? Check. Voice of a Family Guy character? Check. But how does it feel when it all comes together? Okay, so the trailer for The Book of Eli was vague. You know, Denzel has a book of Eli, and he's willing to die to protect it. Story goes, Denzel's a drifter in a really dark, dreary, depressing post-apocalyptic world. But we're talking this place has all the charm of Fallout 3 meets the Shadowland of Mordor. It is pretty bleak. In this world, civilization is out. The world is comprised of drifters, murderous douchebags, and victims. And then there's Denzel, an old humble badass drifter drifting west, who comes across this little town run by Gary Oldman. And Gary Oldman pretty much runs this town like Gene Hackman in The Quick and the Dead. Minus the gunfights. And Gary Oldman, aka Mayor Psychopath, finds out that Denzel has this book that he really wants. Like, really wants. Since I run a spoiler-free operation here, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what the book is. But we'll just say, it is the #1 selling book of all time. Just above Lord of the Rings. And in a post-apocalyptic world of people without hope, this book, being the last one of its kind in existence, could make the owner, in the eyes of the people, a prophet. Or God. Yeah, they could persuade a lot of people into unquestioned loyalty. Denzel and Gary Oldman both know this, and so the conflict ensues. As for the performances, I thought they were all great. Gary Oldman shows us that yes, even though he can play top cop Jim Gordon, he can still be an absolute douche-sickle. Yeah, that's a word. I thought Denzel was awesome as the silent drifter with more action than words. At first he didn't talk much, like at all. It looked like the movie was going to be like Castaway, where it was the longest movie with the shortest script, but it wasn't at all. It just started out that way. But Denzel was a badass. He was like Kratos from God of War meets Jesus. I'm just saying. And Mila Kunis actually wasn't as annoying as you think she's gonna be. Anyone really could have played her role, but she wasn't annoying. In fact, she was actually kind of cool. And she did a couple of badass things herself. Now, what really impressed me about this movie is that it had a religious tone to it without being preachy. I mean, usually movies with religious tones to it feel like 2 hours of mass. But this movie absolutely did not feel like that. And that was really impressive. It's kind of like the movie Signs. You know, back when Shyamalan was good, how it was about aliens, but it still had that undertone of everything happens for a reason at the end. Same thing. Kinda. Not really, but kinda. I found it to be an interesting story that touched on what I think are really accurate takes of human nature. I mean, without rules, humanity looks a lot less human. And if someone were to wield the very last spoiler-free, Book of Eli, people would follow him. And then they could be his little puppets. But yes, I imagine there are going to be people who call this movie preachy propaganda or something, like they called Princess and the Frog racist. However, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that might be about as weird as watching Lord of the Rings and being like, wizards. I mean, I don't even believe in wizards, dude. I mean, why do they got to shove it down our throats? It's just wizard propaganda. So you can see this movie touching on human nature, faith, religion, or Denzel wielding machetes. Take your pick. I found it to be an interesting premise, awesomely acted, and badass. So go check it out. And if you like what you've seen here, and you want to see more, or subscribe maybe, push here on the button. The button that needs a cooler name than just the button. The This Was Totally Awesome button. That's now the name of the button. See, it's like Totally Awesome, but it's this. That is a cool name for a button. I would push that button. You haven't pushed the button. Alright, then go watch Book of Eli.